Good afternoon, William and Mary. All right, thank you. I've been told I have 3 minutes, but I'm also from a Latino family with a decidedly flexible sense of time. So I'll push those boundaries as I begin by mentioning a few important people. I'd like to begin by congratulating those with me on stage whose achievements have earned them William and Mary's respect and admiration, particularly President Graves, and Dr. Harris. It is deeply an honor for me to share the stage with you. Special congratulations to David Day on receiving the Jefferson Award. I met him just 5 minutes ago, but I have met many of his students. All of them, I assure you, have spoken highly of their respect for him, his work, and the organizations he founded. I'd also like to express my sincere gratitude to the Department of Modern Languages and the award committee for their hard work on my behalf. I consider myself exceptionally fortunate to work in modern languages, a department whose service to the William and Mary community far exceeds our actual size. My colleagues' generosity of spirit, their intelligence, and their fierce dedication to quality teaching has been a constant source of inspiration. Although I can barely see them because of the bright, momentary lights of stardom, my family is here. They made the trip from all over the East Coast, and I am greatly moved by their presence. Familia, les quiero. A few words about my students. In my 6 years at William and Mary, my admiration for our students has grown enormously. What an exceptional collection of dedicated, hardworking, and gifted people. It is my sincere hope that I have taught them a modest fraction of what they have taught me. I'll end here my august preamble. Is that not the perfect Taylor Reevely phrase? By saying what a deep honor it is to have been introduced by my former student, Daniel Vivas. He is what every William and Mary student strives to be: sincere, thirsty for knowledge, and an inveterate troublemaker with a deep social conscience. When he finishes his PhD in education, he would make an outstanding addition to William and Mary's faculty. I am as proud of him as I am proud to know him. Like so many of our alumni, he is working hard to push our society to live up to its promise and its ideals. The gap between our ideals and our practice is visible in many corners, big and small. But today I'd like to focus on the way we talk about teachers. While we often hear about the importance and value of education, as a society we compensate teachers far less than other professions, while making and repeating false assumptions that all teachers, quote, have it good. You know the story. We take our summers off, we have long breaks, and we recycle the same material year in and year out. There are, no doubt, some teachers who do those things, but in the almost 20 years that I've been an educator, I've never met any of them. People, politicians often, take the worst teachers and try to make them a stand-in for the whole. We revel in a public discourse that excoriates a few bad teachers while showing none of the same vitriol for a system that has created the social conditions: more poverty, bigger classes, less resources, that make it harder and harder for even the best of teachers to succeed. We talk of accountability by aiming for the low-hanging fruit of a few bad teachers, because the real problems are deeper, more complicated, and run counter to the comfortable narratives we've constructed about ourselves. So I'm taking my 3 minutes, modestly but sincerely, to speak up for teachers in general, to posit the argument that none of us, not one person who has experienced a modicum of success, has done so without the help of a teacher, some teacher, in whatever form that teacher took. The teachers I know, from pre-K through higher ed, are generous in their devotion, restless in their efforts to improve the outcomes of their students, and self-critical to a flaw. And this is perhaps the most important point I'd like to make today. In addition to being oft-belittled, teaching remains the most consistently underestimated of professions. Over and over again, I've heard well-intentioned students remark that if this or that job doesn't work out, or if this or that graduate program doesn't accept them, quote, well, I might just teach for a couple of years. Why is this? If we collectively agree that education is crucial and that education as a goal or even a concept is impossible without teachers, why do we so consistently and shamelessly belittle them? I believe the answer is somewhat simple. We've all dealt firsthand with teachers. They have been an intimate part of our daily lives for enormous stretches of time. And I believe that, ironically, this functions to the detriment of teachers, because while we wouldn't presume to know what a doctor's job is based on the 3 or 2 minutes that we get in the examination room, and while we wouldn't presume to understand the job of a financial analyst based on the 3-minute segment on CNBC Money, or to understand the job of a lawyer based on the 14 documents we've been asked to sign, we believe that we do know exactly what teachers do, and more potently, we believe we know exactly how they do it. We don't. You don't. It's harder than it looks, and it's more difficult than you might imagine. It is precisely because teachers are so consistently self-critical that I believe we, are a model for others. If all professions, if our politicians and civic leaders led with that same dedication to self-critique and thoughtfulness, I believe firmly, fervently, that the world we share would be a better, more humane place. Before going back to my seat, I'd like to make one last quick comment. Upon winning the Thomas Jefferson Teaching Award, I learned that there used to be a tradition on campus of greeting that year's winner with nickels. Each person that greeted and congratulated the winner offered him or her a nickel, because of course it's the nickel that bears Thomas Jefferson's visage. I think, having won this year, that it's a lovely tradition, and I'm all for reviving it. That said, I'd like to emphasize that Benjamin Franklin is an honorary alumni. Thank you.